This is the Business of Apps podcast, bringing you actionable insights from the leaders of the global app industry and the world's fastest growing apps. You can find more app news, data and analysis over at businessofapps.com.
Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. On this show, we invite app industry professionals to cover various topics, and we promise to do our best to keep it both insightful but brief. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast platforms where you can find us, I strongly encourage you to do that. Once you subscribe, you will be getting episodes of this show on your device as soon as it's available. In this episode, we have Jakub Chour, mobile growth at Her App. Jakub, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Hello, happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so there's a decent number of ways to market your mobile apps on the app stores. I think by now we all know them so well. App Store optimization to drive native traffic, paid user acquisition with Apple Search Ads or Google Ads, acquiring users via paid platforms from Meta, TikTok, Alphabet, and some more. But at some point, for savvy app marketers, this point comes pretty early in their app marketing journey. You realize that it's not the end of the story. As much as it makes sense to connect your app via built-in search on app stores or paid ad platforms, there are more ways to build your app user base when you think out of the box, specifically out of the App Store. In this episode, we're going to cover with Jakub a few app marketing techniques to grow your app outside of the app stores. But first, let's start with talking about you and your background in tech, Jakub. Please tell us about yourself.
So I have been with her for quite a few years, doing everything in marketing, from lifecycle to revenue optimization, web, ASO, UA, you name it, and also quite a few tests with marketing outside the stores as well. And before, I worked in an agency that did mobile marketing, and before agency that did just like a classic web marketing, including search. Search was my first job, just doing search on Google.
Yeah, many people in app marketing came from search and desktop. Yeah, I would say the majority. If people have a long career in digital marketing, chances are they started in search. Now tell me about the Her app. What do you guys do? What is your competition on the app stores? Like how many apps are similar to your app and what it does?
So Her is sapphic dating app. Like sapphic is umbrella term for romantic and sexual attraction of a queer woman, non-binary and trans people. All together, we have been on the market since 2013, I believe. It was called Dutch first, and we rebranded. We have 14 million users worldwide. Not everyone is, of course, at the platform. At this point, over like 300 million matches, etc., etc. But the thing is, what makes us happy is that we have thousands of queer marriages and hundreds of little babies. That's what makes us proud. The biggest competitors are the big ones, the classic dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, you name it. That's usually apps that people are using. If they're using multiple dating apps, if they are queer, it's usually Tinder or Bumble.
Yeah, this is great. I think it's the first time I hear about your app because obviously those apps they're grabbing the limelight of media, but that's important that there's an app for people with that orientation to find people that like they are to connect, souls in this world. It's always great. One of the ways to categorize mobile app marketing, I would say, splitting it between these two camps. So you're doing marketing for an app on the App Store or outside of the App Store. So generally speaking, what are the ways to market a mobile app outside of app stores?
There are many ways. Unfortunately, most of them are not very effective. And we've tried different approaches. We are always testing. So for me, as like classic marketer, I always took web as a very underrated channel. And so if you imagine the number of users or like search terms that are similar to what you can see in App Store, it's like much higher on web on different search engines.
Yeah.
But taking it further, we've also tried out-of-home advertising, just the regular banners at stops, event organization, or getting attention from journalists, either by working with data you have or you can gather through the app, through your users, or just like making PR releases. It still works somewhat to some extent, or just like guerrilla marketing. And although it's kind of like overused term, it can work if you do it right, if you know the community, if you know your business right.
Yeah. I vividly remember the moment where mobile became so popular that the whole conversation switched on doing the whole marketing on mobile and desktop became kind of a shadow topic. Became way less popular, and to the point where people realized that the mobile app marketing was too crowded, and they came back to desktop, trying to get more traction there. Is a kind of a natural cycle, which many things in our life comes through this cycle. First, you have a big spike of attention. Everybody are switching and jumping in a new bandwagon. Then they're coming back to what was working before, realizing that it's still there. People are still using their desktop computers. They're still using Google. There are still all those ways to connect with them are still there. And you better be good in both frontiers, mobile and desktop, to be efficient. Okay, now let's zero in on such a thing as referrals or our affiliate marketing. I remember back in the early 2000s, affiliate marketing, excuse me, was one of the first digital marketing techniques I was introduced to. I never was a freelance affiliate marketer, but I remember that being part of the marketing teams, affiliate marketing was always on the list. Like I knew how exactly it worked for, physical products, I don't know, cosmetics, books, anything which you're selling, and you're getting either a percentage of each sale or a certain amount of money per sale. But what app marketers and brands need to factor in to get it right for app marketing, to understand that its channel fits to their product marketing or not?
Well, I would probably check if there's a market for affiliates for some folks. There are not, or they are just too small for any affiliate player to take them. But if there is, say you have a fitness app, right?
Yeah.
You have quite a few users, and then you need to be sure that you are ready for that internally, having processes and systems, because it's not like you have a contract with someone and then you're seeing users and money coming in. It's that you need to be prepared for scams. A lot of people will try to scam you, just
Unfortunately,
the
right.
scheme, right? Not because not from the affiliate side, but they just know how it works, and they know all the affiliate systems very well. Also, it's not just like receiving money. You need to tax it. It's usually from other country or multiple countries. Or if you are successful or you think you are successful, you also need to be sending money to various partners. And although it seems simple, it might take a while to do that. You might not have processes for that. So it takes a lot of time to figure it out, especially if you have like a lot of smaller partners, as we did, like influencers small creators on various social platforms.
Mhm.
It was tedious to make it done in the right way at time, and also I think that you need to be ready to check everything, and they need to be ready to check everything. I mean, like if you are a creator or affiliate partner
Yeah.
who's wondering how they are doing, you need to be ready to present them almost anytime they ask for. So the best way to do it is to make them some login and make them able to check themselves, and that also costs ng works and money after all.
Yeah, so from what you're saying, what I'm hearing is that affiliate marketing is definitely requires a good chunk of preparation, technical, financial, and yeah, I didn't realize that that's right. You actually can tap into affiliate marketing with people from many countries, which automatically means that you have to be aware of that payments you're going to be doing in multiple currencies according to the tax laws of multiple countries. And it quickly becomes pretty complicated thing if you don't know what you're doing and you're not ready. Okay, move along to the next thing, which is, I don't know, if there's any conversation these days that it does not include generative AI. I believe at some point generative AI will begin to chat with each other about generative AI because it will be that popular that we can just stop talking about that topic and let them just speak between themselves. But tools like ChatGPT-4 for OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Claude from Anthropic, which is for enterprise, but still one of the tools you can use for enterprise mobile app development. So in your experience, how would you assess effectiveness of these tools to create content for content marketing? Because content marketing is something that um, many people, many marketers are aware of as the great way to build your brand around your app. But you have to realize that if you cannot write, content marketing is something that you either should hire somebody, but not, or use generative AI. Generative AI is great, but there's still a gap between like what the writer, a human being can write, and what generative AI can produce. ChatGPT can do it in millisecond, figuratively speaking, but the quality will be not that great from the writer. But on the other hand, the writer can take much more time, and you know, writers are people that can get tired, they can get sick and stuff. So, in your experience, how do these tools work for you for content marketing?
Well, I would stick with the rule that says that if everyone else is doing it, it's not worth doing it. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of outcomes from generative AI, and I wasn't impressed in general for our niche. I mean, like, it's great to write an email or I don't know, PR release, but it hasn't been great in the niches like ours. Like, if you think about the base of what is it trained on, it's
Right.
just like mass media content, and very often that's not precise, or it's not close to what the community says, or the way it talks, and
Mhm.
it's obvious for majority of queer people, for example, that the content that is generated by ChatGPT, that's what we have or had, is not the content they would like to read most of the time. But saying that, I think that it still has a chance of helping you if you have someone who can like lift it up, the content
Mhm.
you are creating, and finalize it, like doing the finalizing bits, like 80 to 20. So
Yeah.
ChatGPT will do the 80, and the final touches, the 20, is by someone who understands query language for us.
Right. So authenticity and trust are paramount in your relationship with the users of your app. And I believe it's especially true for you because you're a bit niche from the general dating apps. And once somebody look at the screen, read an article, realize it's a chat GPT, he's gonna switch. Oh, that's, come on, I don't need this crap for generative AI. I can write it myself. It doesn't speak to me, like it doesn't connect with me emotionally because it wasn't written for by a person, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for photos. Like it's pretty easy to do like nicely looking like stock photo, but it's close to impossible to create a bad photo. Like something that is closer to what users are actually creating.
Yeah.
Like not sharp, not that bright. We were trying hard to make that because we have like many stories of users that we wanted to publish, but we weren't able to add any photos to it because it wouldn't be like trustworthy.
Yeah, speaking of generating images, I guess who said that? I think it was Benedict Evans on his podcast who said that generative AI right now, it's like if I don't know if people can remember the days before the interface of Windows. So if you're looking at the screen with MS-DOS, you can only type a command with a keyboard, and you better know your commands right to get the right results and back. But this is not like, click a button print and you have your page being print. Click the button save and you know that the file was saved. With generative AI, it's more like a creative. You're typing a command, quote unquote, and you're expecting some result back, but that result can be very different from your expectations. And yeah, especially if you have to be something authentic and be very relatable. Again, generative AI will let you down, at least at this point. We don't know what's going to happen in a few years, probably next year with later iterations. But as things stand right now, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
next item on my list, it's word of mouth and viral marketing. How these things work to advertise an app outside of app stores. People see apps that become viral. It naturally triggers their interest. They try to apply that technique to their app. Not often people can rationally assess the chances of the app to become viral. They just believe it, inherently should be able to become viral. So what would you say about the viral marketing to advertise an app outside of stores?
Well, most of the time, it won't be picked up. Uh, Anything you do in viral marketing. Like we haven't been doing it that much, but we had some success with just like sharing in the community or within the community on our socials. As always, like if you know the community well,
Yeah.
and you have a hot take, and just sharing it is like will create some amount of buzz, and then you can pay for sharing that post. So even though it's not always positive and it creates a lot of different reactions,
Mhm.
if it's not extreme, I wouldn't say that even negative publicity will like hurt you.
Yeah.
Ideally, if it's like negative publicity, but for people you really don't like care for, like we did for people who hate trans people. So we took a hot take and said, hey, if you hate trans people, just leave the app because you have no place here, which is our standpoint. And it created a lot of different reactions. But after all, I think most of the community approved that.
Yeah, I see. So that's given like what app you're working on, like how controversial or not controversial can be on a societal level. Of course, if you're working on the calculator financial results app, you're pretty safe. It doesn't matter. Like people will not be judging how good or bad your calculator, from a standpoint of minorities. They just it's a facetious case, but yeah, it's pretty safe. But in a case like her app, I completely see what you mean by that interaction with media and people in blogospheres and social media in general. Can you think of any market channel that is oversold or overhyped when it comes to marketing these days?
Like everything that comes out of mouth of like Google and Meta representatives is like hard to trust fully, to be honest. That's at least for me. Although I like them, it's like it's usually oversold. I wouldn't say channel, but definitely like multimedia modeling or incrementality measurement is something that is like talked a lot within us marketers, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think like we are at the point to like fully utilize that, as I've seen some tools that are going this way, and it's like telling a fairy tale at this point. Like you can generate numbers, but for me it was hard to trust it fully. It's like a story you build for yourself and then like verify. So it's more about measurement these days. But on the other hand, it's hard, and like no one has the full picture, and no one can. No one can.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people pay attention closely to what has been covered about Meta over the years, they do remember a number of stories where it turned out that the numbers they were reporting were not accurate. They were big brouhaha back then. And as the case with all big companies, they managed to get away from that situation. The whole like scandal just basically died out and people just moved on. But yeah, this goes to prove that you have to be really careful with what you're uh, taking the face value what they have to say to you, because big corporations obviously have good PR and good way of covering their issues. That's just the nature of the game. Could you give our audience some kind of a takeaways from our conversations today? Something that a strategy to follow once they finishing listening to our conversation. What would you give them as a strategy for outside of the App Store's marketing?
Well, anything you do, just make sure you know how to measure. I mean, like spending a few $1,000s and expecting just like a bump in App Store isn't like the best way to do it, I would say. It's very easy to burn money and see no results, no measurable results. So know how we are going to measure it first, and
Mm-hmm.
if it's measurable at all, of course. And then don't overdo it. I mean, like have the simplest version as possible and just launch it and see what it does. Like thinking like repeatedly after like the thing you want to do usually doesn't bring that much results. I mean, like if you have a good idea, let's try. If it doesn't work, then move on.
Got you. Jakub, being in app marketing for a number of years, what would you like to change about it the most?
Obviously, like the golden times of the iOS measurement. I remember kindly that there's like times that everything was possible, right? And if you were
Yeah.
able to target the whales, and you were able to measure everything, even though it was last click measurement, that would be great if it could come back. But that's not going to happen, right?
No.
So I wish that scan version 5 and maybe 6 possibly is much better, and the marketers are able to actually do something with data that comes out of it meaningfully. Um, So what I'm seeing right now, it's the business came from, hey, here's the app. If you like it, it might be instant hit. To it's much less like guesswork, and everyone has tighter margins. It's much harder to have a breakthrough, even though if your idea is great. So having channel that shows great apps would be great to see, because I don't think app stores are working this way anymore.
Got you. Okay, this is the first part of the show, and because Jakub, it's your first appearance on the show, there is a second part that includes a few quick questions I ask every guest who comes on the show for the first time, so people who are listening to us can both benefit from learning from the topic we're covering and knowing people coming on the show a little bit better than they do at this moment. Here we go. What smartphone do you have now? Are you one of those people who are switching between two big giants or staying one side all the time?
Now, obviously, I've been switching off and on from like both platforms. I have iPhone 13, I believe. Before I also had some iPhone. I don't know its number, but I've been on iOS since like 2018, and since like it's very easy to stay, and the it's harder to switch in between platforms. I think I'll stick for a bit.
Okay, got you. Back in time, what was your first mobile phone before the era of multi-capacity smartphone like an iPhone and Android? Those first phones you can put in your pocket with buttons. Do you remember one of those?
Well, of course. Like the first one I remember, and I'm able to tell, it was Siemens. Those time Siemens was making phones. S45. It had a few games on it. A small display, just like one color, but yellow, not green. Uh, and also you were able to you had different melodies than most other people with Nokia. So your phone was like recognizable in the underground. You knew that your phone is ringing, anyone else's.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now when I hear the name, the brand name Siemens, I only think about the robotics, but I don't think of this company as the manufacturer of smartphones, mobile phones. But yeah, back then, and you're right, Nokia ringtones were so popular, and if you can hear something different, yeah, yeah, chances are it was Siemens in somebody's purse or pocket. Okay, back to present. Um, you're out of your home, and for whatever reason you forget your phone in home. What would be the most missing feature for you when you're out?
Uh, Paying with my phone. Well, I don't carry cash anymore. I've never liked it, and like I wouldn't be able to pay anything really. So like payment and through Apple Pay, it's the most wanted feature.
Gotcha. So from stone coins to gold to paper to iPhone. Got it. All right. If you're thinking about smartphones in general and your iPhone in particular, what would be the what would be a new good feature? Probably not brand new, but just improvement, hardware, software that would make this device a better tool for you.
Battery. I mean, like if you are using your phone heavy, I'm not that much, but if I am for some reason, like sharing my connection, a battery dies within a few hours. So I'm wishing for a new, much better battery.
Yeah, totally. Like you expect this thing to be charged once a day, but that's on average when you don't use it much, but you never know in advance how much you're going to use it on that particular day, so you don't know for sure. Should you carry your power bank or not? Yeah, I hear you. All right, before I let you go, very, very final question. How can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
They can find me on LinkedIn, on X, as Jakub Chour. Just Kuba is just short version of Jacob in here. So probably there. That's the best way. I'm usually there often.
Got it. Jakub, thank you so much for coming on the show and spending time with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And that was Jakub Chour, Mobile Growth at Her App. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you will be getting episodes of the show on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Apps podcast. For more, head on over to businessofapps.com.